Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for subscribing. And in case you're visiting me for the first time, please do subscribe and I assure you, you will not be disappointed. I have been covering a lot of questions, a lot of queries from the messages I receive. I have already acknowledged to a lot of people that I'll soon be making videos on teen contests, on the beauty with the purpose and how to find your cause. And there are many questions which come from you. Thank you so much that you trust me and that you trust my advice, and it really feels nice that there are people who follow you, and I'm grateful that you follow me and uh, you connect with me and you feel that whatever I say is going to be beneficial for you. So thank you very much once again. And if you have not visited my other videos which are related to pageant and also life skills, please do go ahead and check them out. Somebody had also mentioned that, ma'am, why don't you introduce yourself before you talk about a subject, so that people get to know who you are and your credibility. So let me tell you first and foremost that I'm a retired lieutenant from Indian Army and one of the first few from Himachal Pradesh to be commissioned as lieutenant in the Indian Army. And after my retirement, I went to a Swiss Indian finishing school from where I learnt the nuances of personality development, and we didn't have something called image consultancy way back in 80s. We just had personality development and self finishing and polishing your own self. So I went through the entire curriculum of polishing oneself and polishing others, that is the personality development, in which I covered a whole lot of subjects, and we also touched upon pageants and modeling, and so there were a whole lot of subjects I covered and I learned. And once I came back to India, I in the beginning joined couple of finishing schools as faculty to understand the nerve of the Indian audiences. And it's been almost 30 years now that I have been running my own finishing school, as you call it. But the name is Riga House. Now people wonder, what is this Riga House? So the first two initials of my name, Rita, R-I, Gangwani, G-A. So that makes it Riga. House is like, it's like the Dior house and the Louis Vuitton house. So it's like a place where people manufacture something great. So I also call it a house. If you look at a house, the Indian house, is because I'm quite aged, and I have my own grandchildren now. So I'm like a grandmother, a mother duck to most of my students, and I protect them, guide them with all my heart, just like a mother would do. So that is why I thought house where my student will feel comfortable with me. And I'm also been honored by the World Book of Record for being one of the best pageant coaches and personality transformation coaches of India, and for working for women empowerment throughout India and around the world. So that's about me. Yes, I've also been honored by the President of India and a whole lot of organizations nationally and internationally. I'm not boasting, but I was asked to introduce myself, and that's what I have done. There's a lot more you can read about me on Google. So if you just type my name, maybe you get to a place where my profile has been featured, and you would get to know more about my likes, my dislikes, and about my life. And I'm also the author of the first book, the first pageant book from an Indian author. It's called The Beauty Pageant's Green Room, and it has the foreword by our foremost the former Miss Universe, Sushmita Sen, and it's a very well liked book and fully covers all the nuances and aspects of pageantry. What I do is I train boys and girls and teenagers and toddlers and misses and plus size and transgenders for various pageants and for modeling. So that's a little bit about me. Today, what I'm going to talk about is a very, very, very underlined with red important topic for pageants. See, when you go for a pageant, there are three main things which are very much on in the face of the judges and in the face of the audience. One is your introduction, which is the first impression you carry. The second is your ramp walk. How do you walk and present yourself? The confidence, the charisma you carry on stage. And the make and break one is the question answer session. And a lot of people are completely paranoid, afraid of this particular round of question answer sessions, and they really don't know what to expect, what to do. So I thought today I will cover how to prepare for question answer sessions and what to do when you are on stage and a question is come to you or thrown at you by the jury. So as I said, it's a make or break. And even before I start, let me tell you that, a lot of people waste a lot of time finding the right answers. Frankly, there is no right answer and there is no wrong answer. What answer you're giving is your opinion about that particular topic, whatever has been given to you. So yes, the right answers and the wrong answers will happen when there are statistics involved, where there are names involved, where you have to put the truth out there. Then yes, those figures are important, that they have to be correct. The years, the dates are important, the names are important. But when it's a general topic like in your opinion, how can you help in reducing global warming? So there is no wrong answer or right answer. You know why it happens and what can you contribute as a person to help overcome this problem. So please don't go around mugging up and looking at all these people. And first and foremost, if there is any coach who's giving you a list of question and answers, this is the question, this is the answer, it's absolutely wrong. Because then you will mug it up, and like you, there may be 30 other girls who are mugging it up. And if everybody is giving the same answer, how would a judge pick up a winner? And that means you're not using your brain. You are using somebody else's brain to answer the question. And that is definitely not going to put you in a better light. That's why a lot of people who buy my book, I have 500 questions in this. When they buy this book, they ask me, why ma'am, you have given questions but you have not given the answers? The answer is, why should I give the answer? You have to find the answer. Work on it. Put some hard work on it. When you work on it, when you put your hard work on it, when you use your own way of describing it, that is what makes you unique, and that is what will make you stand out. Of course, I'm there to help you what is right and what is wrong, but I'm not going to spoon feed you and tell you this is the answer and that is the answer, because if somebody is doing that, that is absolutely wrong. And a good coach will never ever do that. Okay, to begin with, I will tell you that, maybe you're going for a pageant and you have purchased a gown. You can get it altered. Maybe you're going for a pageant and you feel that, you have a little weight somewhere. You can fix that up. But a question answer, or the answer which you're going to give on stage, cannot be altered. What you give out there is out there. It cannot be changed. It cannot be altered. Even when you see internationally, when you have the third round where everybody gets one common question, they are supposed to write it down and read out exactly what they have written, because you cannot alter that. So when something which cannot be altered has to fit you well, has to be well prepared, and that is why the question answer session is something which you must prepare well. I'm not saying go mug it up, but in this session, I will guide you, I will tell you how to prepare for question and answer sessions. Okay, so let's begin. When you become one of the finalists and the judge is going to ask you a question, a good judge, a seasoned judge, is not going to straight away jump to a question. They would want to relax you a bit because they know that you're extremely nervous. So a judge might simply say, "Hi, good evening, how are you feeling?" Okay, "I'm feeling great, sir. I'm very excited, sir. I have been waiting for this moment." So don't say, "I'm nervous." Even if they say, "Are you nervous?" Say, "No, sir, I'm not nervous. I'm very excited at the moment because I have been waiting for this moment for a very long time." They may simply compliment you. "Oh, you look gorgeous." Simply say, "Thank you very much, sir. You made my day." So a good judge will always start with small talk, as you call it, will try and relax you, and then the question will come to you. So when the question comes to you, I would always suggest, don't go out and give a general statement. For example, I just gave you an example. What do you think is the cause of global warming? And you say, "Well, the biggest cause of global warming is pollution and blah, 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 blah." So somebody might counter question you, "Who said that?" So maybe you're giving a general answer, but in a pageant, they want to know, what do you feel about it? What is your opinion? Describe in your own words. So you always start your answer by saying, "I believe blah 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 blah," or "in my opinion blah 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 blah," so that even if there's a counter question, you can handle it because it's coming straight from you. But if it's a general question, then there may be chances that you may not be able to handle the counter question. But let me also tell you, if a judge is counter questioning you, it's good for you because that shows that he has seen or she has seen something strong in you, and they feel you will be able to handle this situation well of the question and answers. So sometimes they grill a participant who they think is really worth it. Okay, so don't get scared in case there's a counter question, but always give your own personal opinion. The third important thing is that when a question is thrown at you and you're standing there at that moment, there are chances that you may go blank, completely blank. And it's because you're nervous. It's not only just nervousness and stage fear, it's also lack of oxygen. You stop breathing, you're concentrating. So what you need to do is take a deep breath. Now this deep breath has to be very silent. Okay, don't make such a big sound so that they can hear you deep breathing. Take a deep breath, let some oxygen go in so that your mind becomes clear. And when the mind is clear, you will be able to think, recall what you have to say, find the words, make a dialogue, and quote the words which you're going to use out there. So take a deep breath, relax before you answer, because in case you are in a hurry, there are chances that you may stumble, you may forget, you may go blank. So remember that. It's the nerves sometimes which can really create a lot of problems for you. Next thing you must to remember is that you must answer your question within 20 seconds. And keep it as short as possible. If you say, like if they say, "What do you think is the most important quality a person should have?" So it's your opinion. So for example, if you say patience, you can simply say, "Well, I think the most important quality somebody should have is patience. Full stop." Now, why you should have patience? What is patience going to help you with? Blah, blah, blah. If you keep expanding, you will be just playing around the words. Sometimes even judges get irritated because they think, "What the hell is she saying?" Because you have already answered the question and you're just going round and round and round around it. So best would be to keep your answer short and in time. Max, the time they give you is 30 seconds, but if you can finish it much before that, it's much nicer. Rather than saying, okay, now I have given a good answer, so I'm going to get 7 out of 10. But if I elaborate more, maybe I get 10 out of 10. But sometimes your play of words can reduce that 7 number to 3. So be as short as you can and as specific as you can. They say KISS, keep it short and simple. Your answers should be so simple that even a 10-year-old can understand what you're saying. But if you use very complicated ornamental words and technical words, half the people will not understand that. So keep it simple. The next thing I would want to tell you is don't make a lot of these continuity sounds and you keep using a lot of these words. These are called continuity sounds because these are the sounds which we normally use when we are connecting our thoughts and words together. So that sometimes can also happen because of nervousness and also shows that maybe you're not well prepared. So don't make too many. 1 or 2 is okay, that's natural. But if you use too many continuity sounds, that may not go well for you, right? So don't do that. And many a times when a question is asked, answer the question. Don't beat around the bush. Don't go round and round and round, but you're not answering the question. So the question is put to you, and instead of answering that, you are just going around and around and around like a salesperson, but not actually answer the exact question which has been asked. So sometimes it's disrespectful to the judge. He says, I asked her this, but what is she saying? Okay, and you finish your 30 seconds, then you've lost your chance already. And sometimes there is a question in question. Which is your favorite color and why? And you just heard the first one. My favorite color is red. Now, why do you like red? You need to answer that. Who's your role model and why? So always listen to the question. Is it just a one question? Is it 2 questions? Is it 3 in 1, 4 in 1? How the question has been framed, you must be very well aware. So when a question comes to you, break it into words. For example, if they say, who's your role model and why? So who, role model, why? So you pick up those main points and then work around it, and you know that I have to answer all these 3, 4 important words, and if I don't, my answer is not complete. It's also very important not to take the mic from the host's hand. It is not supposed to be done. The mic is supposed to be in the hand of the MC, and they are supposed to be maneuvering the stage. So you're not supposed to be holding the mic or take the mic from their hand. They will bring it quite close to your face, and that is how you want to answer. And that gives you a chance to use your body language, your gestures, your eye contact, your hands to describe what you want to say. So please do not be in a tussle of taking that mic from the host's or the MC's hand. That may not get you, that may not be very complimentary for you, as they say. Sometimes to keep your nervousness in check, you can, before the contest, make a little friendship with the MC. Get familiar with the MC. So what happens when that MC is standing next to you with the mic in the hand? You feel you have a friend standing nearby. You feel less scared. And if you make an eye contact with the MC maximum and then to the audience and judges, then you know that I have a friend standing right next to me, and that may relax your nerves. So sometimes it works if you know the person who's going to ask you a question. So try and make friends with the MC or the host who you think is going to finally ask you a question. But I'm not saying go flatter that person. That will go absolutely against you. Oh wow, you look great, you look so nice. These are all flattery. Just simply, okay, nice to meet you, I look forward to the evening, blah blah, whatever. Just use simple words and try and make small PC, as they say, public connection with the person who's out there. It's not very important that your question always has to be, the answer has to always be very serious. Sometimes you can even use humor, a little bit of humor, to relax people, because everybody's tense at that moment. And if you think that this humor is not going to hurt anyone and it's actually very appropriate for the moment, you can use that as well. So don't be too serious about it. Always remember that the judges are looking for specific things. They are looking for your authenticity, how real you are. They are looking for your confidence. They are they are actually listening in between the lines, what you're trying to say. They are seeing how do you light up the room. They are seeing how charismatic you are. They are seeing how you project your confidence in crisis. They are seeing that how do you speak like a leader, how do you convince people. So these are some of the qualities which the judge is looking for when you are answering that question. When you're preparing for your question and answer sessions, you can use a module which I call the management module. You know how a management student will first look at a case study, identify the problems, will try to find the answers around it, and if they cannot, then they will maybe have a discussion with people, how do you solve this problem. Exactly in the same way, you can use this power module, or I say the question answer module, or I call it the method to answer the question, to prepare for your question and answer. So first and foremost, what you need to do is read the news. It's very, very important to just run through the news. I'm not saying just read the newspaper from point 1 to point Z, including the obituaries. No, I'm not saying that. You must be aware about the important things which are happening around you. So read the newspaper. And once you read the newspaper, come up with a question from that particular news which you are reading. Come up with a question which you think a jury may ask from that particular news, and then try to answer that question. And if you cannot answer that question, first answer in your own way. For example, the question is, you're reading a newspaper, how the youth of today is so much in stress, and so much in too much is there on their heads, and they are so stressed out, and blah 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 blah. You're reading something, some case which happened, and blah. Then when you read it, make a question out of it. Okay, maybe they'll ask you, maybe a judge may ask, what do you think could be the cause of stress? And then try and answer that maybe there is so much of information overload. It's because so much of information is available digitally, blah blah blah. So you're answering that question. And once you answered that question, think of another ways, what are the other things that can be included in that. And if you cannot, then discuss or ask somebody who's a good reader, somebody who actually is always reading the newspaper, is aware about what is happening around you. So have a mentor, have somebody who can guide you and help you answer that question. So you can make your own questions, you can make your own answers along with all the question and answers available on the net. And let me tell you, all the questions available on the net are not the ones they are going to ask you. They may ask a question, maybe you read one question, they may ask a brother or a sister of that question around it. But you have just mugged this one up, you will never be able to identify that the question is same. Only the words are different. Only they have framed it differently. So it's very important that you actually make your own question and answers, and also run through all the questions which are there, but don't think that these are going to be answered. Even for that one question, find alternatives. How, for example, tell me something about yourself. Alternatives. Describe yourself. Okay. Give me your elevator speech. Okay. Introduce yourself. So what are these? These are brothers and sisters of one question. So one question can be looked at differently. So when you practice, just find different ways of looking at that question as well. If you have time, do that. If you're well prepared, then the question which is thrown at you from any angle, you will be able to answer that. And to be well prepared for question and answers, first thing, you should be very, very self-aware. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are your values? What are your beliefs? Get to know yourself well. It's a great chance to get to know yourself when you prepare for introductions and question and answers. Second thing is that when you answer, answer with conviction. Answer, uh, it's not the words which matter. It's it's how you answer. What do you think about it? What is behind that? So when you're answering with conviction, it's like the judges want to know how much do you believe in what you are saying. But if you are using somebody else's brain, a mugged up answer, they can actually see through. And also very important, that stick to your opinion. Say this, then this. If you say that, then that. Don't keep nudging from one point to another, or finding a safe way out, that you play a very, you play a very safe role, neither this way nor that way. So whatever the question is, you should stick to your opinion. Also, be very respectful. It's not a debate. Be very respectful. So maybe a question comes where they ask you something, and your opinion may not match with the opinion of somebody sitting in the audience. For example, what is your opinion about gay marriage? Okay, so there may be somebody sitting in the audience who do not believe in it. So it is always good to say that I respect the values we have and blah 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 blah, but I think love is very important, and I think love is something which everybody has a right to, and in my opinion, I think people who love each other should be allowed to be with each other, and in my opinion, it's perfectly all right, because everybody has a right to live their own life. So you use that, and you use this, so very diplomatically you answered the question. And that is why I say it's very, very important to practice, because sometimes there could be questions which are very political and can go against you, or could be counter question, or you may hurt somebody which is sitting in the audience. So you have to think very well before you answer, so that you don't hurt anyone's opinion or anyone's thoughts. Also, keep it, as I said, keep it very simple, and don't sugarcoat your answers. As I said, don't use very ornamental language and stuff like that. So read newspapers, listen to news, be aware about what is happening around you, absorb as much as you can, and as I say, go for breadth. Go for breadth and not the depth. So have vast knowledge about things, rather than just picking one question and going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, because nobody is going to get that deep into that question in that 30 seconds. But your knowledge about everything is what matters. So go for a breadth rather than going for the depth. It's very, very important to remember that. And as I said, ask opinion from people who read a lot, and who are very well aware about what is happening around them. So many a times it's important, when a question is thrown at you, think in your mind, okay, what will others say? For example, a question comes to you, okay, each and every part in human body is very important, but according to you, which is the most important body part? Right? So people will say heart, people will say brain, people will say mind, and all kinds of things. So now predictable, this is what people will say. So what do I say? Think, what is going to be different than the others? So what is going to be different? Thank you. And yeah, don't forget to thank. When a question comes to you, just say thank you, start your answer, and probably in the end give a greeting, have a great evening. But don't say thank you for that lovely question, not all that ornaments, just a plain thank you is good enough. Sometimes people don't even say that, but one thank you in the entire thing works, whether it's in the beginning or in the end. So as I said, which is the most important body part, if it's your opinion, you can say, well, um, in my opinion, for me, the most important body part is my shoulder, because this is what I give to people to lean upon as a pillar. And this is what we normally give to people who depart from this world, you know. So it's a very emotional answer, and it's a very different answer. So always think what the other person is going to say. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say something different. And that is what is going to make you very, very different. And how would you know that you've answered something which has touched the people? That you can gauge by the amount of claps you will have. The more claps you have, the more chances that you have given a good answer. So I hope I have given you a bit of a clarity about how to prepare for question and answers. And if you have any question, do send me in your messages, and I'll try my best to answer to your queries and questions as best as I can. So I take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Makar Sankranti, Lohri, Pongal, and Happy New Year, in the Indian Happy New Year. And I hope that all the sufferings we have faced in 2020 are left behind, and we are all blessed with a great health, great wealth, and we all prosper. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.